Join me in welcoming the Disney MGM Studios Star Wars Motorcade. Please welcome the Hollywood Brass. Darth Vader. Stormtroopers. And the man behind the mask of Darth Vader, David Prowse.
Nice to be with you. Beautiful day. Glorious, isn't it?
That's great. That's a fun motorcade. Go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you very much.
And we'll get a little bit comfortable here. And I'll address our audience a little bit about what we're doing here and how we're conducting our conversation. I, of course, will ask a couple of questions myself. And, but more importantly, we'd like questions from you. If you do have a question for David Prowse, we'd like you to raise your hand. We have Kip right over here. Kip, raise your hand. He's right there in the orange Star Tours outfit. And so if you have a question, go ahead and address the question to him. You can ask it in the microphone. But first of all, welcome here to the Disney MGM Studios. We're all thrilled to have you here. This has just generated so much excitement, this Star Wars weekend.
Beautiful, isn't it?
What do you think attributes to all this? What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic. All of a sudden, after 20 years, you know, Star Wars has become this huge phenomenon all over again. But I personally think, to me, it brings back everything that I used to see as a kid. When I used to go to the cinema, I used to see cowboy and Indian films and pirates and swashbucklers and all those sort of things. And you had identifiable goodies and identifiable baddies. And you know, the sort of the goodies always wore white, and the baddies always wore black hats and things like this. You know, and I think it brings everything back to the cinema, as I said, that we used to go and see. And that's
before we indulge a little bit more about the movie and the trilogy of Star Wars and the 20th anniversary, is this your first time to Walt Disney World?
No, this is the second time, because the last time I came, I was going to do a job here, and the day I was going to actually go into work, I came in on the Wednesday, and I was supposed to be going to work on Thursday onwards. And all the Disney executives came to see me and said, "Very, very sorry, but we've cancelled your appearance." And so they said, well, we're not going to put you on, but would you like to stay for a holiday, have a holiday here at our expense? And so I had a beautiful, beautiful week here at Disney's expense. But unfortunately, I didn't do any personal appearances while I was here. So and nobody knew I was here. I was just wandering around the
well, all of us are thrilled that you are here with us now.
Yeah,
we're certainly not going to let you go. By the way, did you check out this attraction over here, Star Tours?
I've seen the Star Tours. Oh yes, fantastic ride.
All right,
have you all been on Star Tours? Yeah. It's a great ride, isn't it? great. Yeah,
They love it. Let's go ahead.
I've seen it. I've been on it several times now, and each time I'm still holding on like grim death. Like, I think it's wonderful. Yeah. But it goes back about 3 years before Star Wars. Star Wars came out, or at least we actually filmed it in 1976. But in 1973, I did a very, very famous film called Clockwork Orange for Stanley Kubrick. Thank you. Oh, you all saw it, did you? Yeah. And I played. Do you remember the part I played in it?
Charles.
Can you remember the part I played in it? I played the part of Julian, who was the bodyguard to the writer. And if you remember, I carried him down the stairs in his wheelchair. And also there was a scene where I picked up Alex when he came to the door, and I carried him down 3 flights of stairs, and there was a big dialogue scene at the bottom, and then carried him all the way back up the stairs again. And Clockwork Orange established me as an actor. I've been doing films for about 10 years before Clockwork Orange came along, and then all of a sudden, the mere fact that I'd worked for Stanley Kubrick established me as an actor. And then when George Lucas was casting for Star Wars, he came to London and rang my agent up and asked me if I would go and see him. And I went to see him, and he said, well, look, I'm doing this film called Star Wars, and I'd like to offer you one of 2 parts in the movie. And I said, well, how did you know of me? How did you get in touch with me? He said, I saw you in Clockwork Orange. He said, if you're good enough for Stanley Kubrick, you're good enough for me. And that was basically it. And I said, well, what are the 2 parts in the movie? And he said, well, the first one's a character called Chewbacca. And I said, what the hell is Chewbacca? And he said, it's like a hairy gorilla that goes through the film on the side of the goodies. And all I could think of was 3 months in a gorilla skin. I thought, no, I don't fancy that very much, George. So I said, what's the other part? And he said, well, the other part is the big villain of the film, the character called Darth Vader. And I said, don't say any more, George, I'll have the villain's part, thank you very much. And he said, well, tell me for why. And I said, well, if you think back on all the movies that you've ever seen where there were goodies and baddies, I said, you always remember the baddie. I said, if you think back on all the James Bond movies, I said, you remember people like Oddjob, you remember Goldfinger, you remember Dr. No, you remember Jaws. I said, but you tell me who played James Bond in the film. He said, well, you've made a very wise decision. He said, because nobody will ever forget Darth Vader. And here we are now 20 years later, and Darth Vader is now regarded as the ultimate screen villain of all time. Thank you.
Young people here haven't seen it the first time when it came out in 1977, because, they weren't born yet. But it's amazing because when I was young, the lines went around the theater. And I actually called today because I wanted to see Empire Strikes Back, which opens today. And the lady on the phone said that, well, it's been sold out for 2 weeks. So it's.
I'm actually going to see it tonight.
Well, yeah. What do you think is the appeal of Star Wars to have so much of attention?
Well, I think, as I said, all the people that went to see it 20 years ago are now going back to see it with their kids. And so, and Star Wars was I went to see it the other night, and I thought to myself, well, the film hasn't aged at all. It's as exciting today as it was 20 years ago. They put new effects on it, and the explosions are better and things like this. They've just made it that little touch better than it was 20 years ago. But it was so good 20 years ago that it would have stood up on its own now if they hadn't touched it at all. But it's now, as I said, is that little touch better again. And we're looking forward. As I said, I'm going to go and see Empire Strikes Back tonight. So I'm going to see a special showing of it. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I'll tell you the funny thing. Actually, I was in Fresno. And I went to, nobody ever invited me to go and see the revised issue of Star Wars. I hadn't had one invite to go and see it. And then when I was in Fresno last weekend, somebody said, would you like to go and see Star Wars? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. This is rather. I said, but I am very, very tired. I said, I've been traveling. I've just come back from Africa, and then I was 24 hours on the plane coming over and things like that. I said, I am very, very tired. And I said, do me a favor. I said, if I go asleep, please nudge me. And of course then they introduced me to the audience before the film started, so everybody in the cinema knew where I was sat. And would you believe I fell asleep in the movie? And the person next door kept on nudging me all the way through.
Even with all that pressure.
With all that pressure, yeah.
But I can't think of any other film that would make an impact like Star Wars has to bring back to the big screen. Let's go ahead and get another question out here.
I don't know where you live, but you have to keep your eyes open and see if we're appearing in your area.
That's right.
But we got 2 big ones coming off actually. One in at the beginning of May in San Francisco, where we're all going to get together. I don't know whether they're trying to get Billy D. Williams and Carrie Fisher as well as the men behind the mask. So there's like 6 of us, and then they're going to try and get the other personalities. There's one in New York at the end of May, and one in San Francisco at the beginning of May. They're going to be the 2 big conventions of the year.
I should say this time that all the men behind the mask will be here for the Star Wars.
That's right.
weekend.
They're all coming in. Yeah, we're gonna. I think I'm the only one that's coming in on my own, aren't I?
Yeah.
They're all coming in. They're all coming in pairs. So you've got R2D2 and Wicket coming in, and then you've got Chewbacca and Boba Fett coming in. I don't know what's happening about Tony Daniels.
Yes, he's coming in.
He's coming in.
Yes,
yeah? Lovely, marvelous. So you're going to. subsequent weeks or weekends over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see all the Star Wars Men Behind the Mask characters. Yeah.
Tell us about a little bit about the Darth Vader costume. I would imagine it'd be very hard to shoot with this costume, with the helmet, the dark eyes. How was it to shoot, and how did you know to hit your mark?
Well, the thing was, is that what used to happen is that when we, I'll tell you, the very first thing that happened when I put the Darth Vader helmet and mask on, George Lucas said to me, he said, move your head from left to right, let's see how it works. And I sort of turned one way and then turned the other way, and the mask still stayed facing forwards. And they'd made the mask miles too big, so they padded the whole of the inside of the mask out with foam rubber. Then they had grey lenses, and they kept on saying all the way through the film that they could see my eyes moving. And so they kept on darkening the lenses, put the amber lenses in, and the amber got darker and darker. Then all of a sudden they said they could see my mouth moving through the two triangular. They were like, as you can see there, they're like grills. But what they did then was they covered the grill up with black gauze. Then they used to black all my eyes out and black all the way around my mouth so that they couldn't see my mouth moving. But unfortunately what they did, the bottom piece of the grill was where I used to see my marks on the floor. And so in the finish I had to actually count the number of steps I was going to take till I arrived at the camera, where my mark was in front of the camera.
But you can see the lines is how was that? Now, did you
I learned all the dialogue.
You learned all the dialogue,
and I delivered all the dialogue through all three movies. All right, all three movies. But during the first one, when we were doing Star Wars, it was understood that I was going to be the voice of Darth Vader. And I kept on saying to George, what are we going to do about the voice of Vader? Because everything I'm saying is coming through the mask and is not really audible, not for reproduction purposes. And he used to say things like, don't worry, we'll go into the studios and re-record all your lines at the end of the movie. And then when they got to the end of the movie, they raced back to America because they couldn't get all the special effects that they wanted in England. And when they were back in America, they made a decision that they didn't want to play Darth Vader with an English voice, with an English accent. Unfortunately, so they took my voice off, and they gave Darth Vader the voice of James Earl Jones, who I think did a wonderful job. And I think he really did a wonderful job. But people come up to me and they say, could you have done the voice of Darth Vader? And I say, well, of course I could have. I know. They say, well, let's hear you say something. And I go, this is CNN. So that's my contribution.
Can you see him? Maybe
so this is true also because I know there's scenes with Darth Vader and Boba Fett and another bounty hunter. Yeah. So, but they're all mask covered. You can't see the mouth.
That's right.
But are you doing dialogue at that time?
Most of the guys, as I said, had their voices overdubbed. I mean, Chewbacca never did any of his own voices. That was all sort of, I think it was bear noises and things like this put in after. C-3PO was the only one that had his voice. Managed to use his own voice. And in fact, it was funny actually because all the way through the film, George Lucas hated what C-3PO was doing, but in the finish he won over and got them to use his very very prissy English voice.
And then he's a classical actor.
Yeah.
It said CNN. I guess I should tell everyone that on Tuesday, Star Wars became the #1 grossing film.
That's right.
Ever.
I really wish I was part of it. I wish I was a bigger part of it.
Well, financially, you're a big part of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of varieties. Do we have another question
A lot of people want to know, for instance, whether I ever earned any money out of the merchandising. I don't earn a cent out of any of the merchandising at all. So you can buy all the toys you want to buy, and in the safe thought that Dave Prowse is not earning anything out of it.
Do you have some of the original merchandise?
No, I got nothing actually. I used to when Star Wars first came out, all the manufacturers used to send me all the toys and all the bits and pieces by the crate load, And I had 3 children at the time. I had a son of 10, a son of 8, and a daughter of 6. And they weren't the slightest bit interested. And I used to have to give all this stuff away. I used to just to get rid of it. All these boxfuls were in my hallway, at home, and in my passageway. And I used to get the kids in from up the street and say, look, would you like to take some of this away, And I was giving them to hospitals and charities and things like this. And the only thing I ever kept, or at least I don't know why I ever kept it, was a shooting game. And I found it in my loft about a year or so ago. And I took it to a Star Wars collector, and I said, "Look," I found this old game up in my loft. Is it worth anything? He said that is the most expensive and valuable Star Wars toy that there is. he said, if you want to get rid of it, he said, I'll give you $2,000 for it straight away. I said, have it quick, you know, give me the $2,000. Yeah.
That's great. Now, where's the original Darth Vader?
The original Darth Vader suit is now in San Rafael with George Lucas's Lucasfilm. I don't know whether any of you have got the Rebel Assault 2, the new game by Hasbro. The new, yes, lovely game, isn't it? But I actually did Darth Vader for that, and it was Hasbro got in touch with me and said, you know, we want to do this game. Would you play Darth Vader in it? And I said, yeah, I'd love to reprise the role. And so they actually flew the suit over from San Rafael, complete with a dresser as well. And we filmed the whole thing, 55 minutes of film. We did in 2 days. Yeah, it was incredible shooting.
Let's get one more question from the audience. And Dave, if you wouldn't mind, you can just put the microphone back up here. We'll go on this side. We'll have Darth Vader come up here right next to you. Now, we've got a wooden stick right here for you, David. If you could just sign your name anywhere on the cement block and today's date. This is all yours, so whatever you want to put on there. So he's going to put David Prowse. He finished his name Dave Prowse. Right now he's putting is Darth Vader. And then today's date right over here in one of the corners. It's the 21st. Yeah. 2. '97. Now we're getting ready for your hands, and what we're going to do, we'll count down from 3, and we'll have everybody here count down from 3, and then you just make your mark wherever you want.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Hands up. Here we go. We're going to count down from 3. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There you go. Wiggle around in there. You can show those hands to everyone.
Did you get a picture?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Get some water right here. That's pretty good. Go ahead and rinse it right there. There's a towel on the side. David Prowse, on this 21st day of February 1997, we congratulate you and declare you an official member of the Disney family of stars. Congratulations, David. Thanks so much for taking time out to come to see us today. We appreciate it so much.
Okay. Sorry? Hello. Shake hands, there you are. Lovely. Go on, grab our picture. Quick, quick, come right here. Quick. Alright. Are we too close? Alright. Okay. Ready?
That's it. There you go.
Alright. Okay. Okay. Put your hat up, I can't see you. That's better. That's better. Alright. Alright, there you are.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in our special conversation and handprint ceremony with the man behind the mask of Darth Vader, David Prowse. Coming up here at the Star Tours weekend, don't miss David Prowse right here on this stage at 3 o'clock for autograph signings. He'll be there from 3 to 4:30. Go ahead and line up for that now. 3 to 4:30 if you'd like an autograph from David Prowse and a picture. Also at 3 o'clock, we'll have the Star Wars Ultimate Trivia Contest taking place right here on this stage. I'll be hosting that along with 3 contestants, just people we pulled out of the audience to test their knowledge on Star Wars trivia. Also tonight, don't miss the Cantina Party. Happens right here in the street. A nice little Cantina Party with the DJ. And don't miss tonight's fireworks, Fantasy in the Sky fireworks with a special salute to the 20th anniversary of Star Wars. That all takes place right here this weekend.